It was a hot, sticky evening on March 15, 2025, right in the heart of Lagos traffic. Billionaire Olumide Adebayo sat behind the wheel of an old, battered yellow taxi. He had changed his expensive suit for a faded agbada, worn slippers, and a dirty cap pulled low over his eyes. Sweat rolled down his face, but it was not just the heat making him suffer. He had just picked up his own wife, Adaeze, from her office in Victoria Island. She climbed into the back seat without even glancing at the driver's face. As the car crawled along the third mainland bridge, her phone rang. She answered quickly, her voice sweet and excited like a young girl in love. "Chinedu, my heart," she whispered loudly enough for the driver to hear every word. "My foolish husband Olumide is probably sitting in his big office counting money again. He thinks I'm at a late meeting with clients. Tonight, my love, I am coming straight to your place in Lekki. We will lock the door, turn off the lights, and I will make you forget every other woman in this world. Olumide's money cannot buy what you give me." Olumide's hands gripped the steering wheel so tight his knuckles turned white. His chest felt like someone had driven a hot knife through it. His heart shattered into 1,000 sharp pieces. Anger boiled in his veins like hot oil ready to explode. What she said next was even worse. "I can't wait to feel your hands on me again. My husband touches me like I'm made of glass. You touch me like I'm fire." Olumide's whole body shook. In that terrible moment of shock and pain, he lost control for a second. The taxi swerved dangerously toward the bridge railing. Adaeze screamed, "Driver! Watch the road." Horns blared all around them. Olumide quickly straightened the wheel, but his mind was spinning. Little did Adaeze know that the man she was insulting was right there, listening to every cruel word. What would happen when the truth finally came out? To understand how this heartbreaking moment arrived, dear listener, we must travel back to happier days. It was January 10, 2025, a bright Saturday morning in their beautiful mansion in Ikoyi, Lagos. Olumide woke up early and brought Adaeze breakfast in bed, fresh pawpaw, golden akra, and hot pap with plenty of milk. She smiled sleepily and pulled him close. "You spoil me too much, my husband," she said softly. Olumide laughed and kissed her forehead. In his heart he felt like the richest man in Nigeria, not because of his billions, but because of her love. They spent the whole day together, walking hand in hand in their garden, planning a big family vacation to Seychelles. Everything felt perfect. 2 weeks later, on January 25th, things began to change quietly. Adaeze started staying late at her marketing job in Victoria Island. She came home after 10 p.m. almost every night. "The clients are very demanding," she explained with a tired smile. Olumide nodded and rubbed her shoulders. "Rest, my love. I don't want you to fall sick." But deep inside, a tiny seed of worry started growing in his chest. He pushed the feeling away and told himself he was just being silly. By the first week of February, the late nights became even more frequent. One evening, February 8, Adaeze returned smelling strongly of expensive men's cologne. Olumide noticed it the moment she walked through the door. "What is that smell?" he asked gently, trying not to sound accusing. Adaeze laughed lightly and waved her hand. "Oh, one of my colleagues hugged me goodbye. You know how close we all are at the office." Olumide forced a smile, but his stomach twisted into a tight knot. That night he could not sleep. He lay staring at the ceiling, wondering if he was imagining things. The very next night, February 9th, while Adaeze was in the shower, Olumide picked up her phone from the bedside table. His fingers trembled as he unlocked it with the code he knew so well, her birthday. He opened her messages. There they were, long, loving texts from a man saved as CN. The last message read, "I can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again, my queen?" Another one said, "Tell your boring husband you have another conference." Olumide felt the room spin. His blood turned ice cold. Tears burned in his eyes, but he refused to let them fall. He quietly put the phone back and pretended to be asleep when Adaeze came out. The pain ate at him like acid for days. On February 14th, Valentine's Day, Olumide tried to win her back. He booked a private dinner at the most expensive restaurant in Lagos, bought her diamond earrings, and filled their bedroom with red roses. Adaeze smiled and thanked him, but her eyes looked far away. She checked her phone under the table many times. Olumide's heart sank lower. That night she said she was too tired for love. He lay awake again, feeling more alone than ever in his own house. By late February, Olumide could no longer pretend everything was fine. He decided he needed proof, real, undeniable proof. On February 28, he told Adaeze he had an urgent business trip to Abuja for 1 full week. "I leave tomorrow morning," he said. Adaeze's face lit up for a split second before she caught herself. "Oh, be safe, my love," she replied, hugging him tightly. But Olumide saw the excitement in her eyes. It hurt more than any knife. Instead of flying to Abuja, Olumide went straight to a quiet part of Mushin. There, an old friend helped him buy a second-hand yellow taxi. Olumide paid cash so no one could trace it. He practiced driving the old car through narrow streets, learning how to act like a regular driver. Every time he looked in the mirror, he saw a stranger staring back. His heart felt heavy, but he knew he had to do this. Early on the morning of March 15, 2025, Olumide parked the taxi 2 streets away from Adaeze's office in Victoria Island. The sun was already hot, burning his neck through the open window. He waited for 5 long hours, sipping warm pure water and fighting the butterflies in his stomach. His phone stayed off. He did not want any calls to ruin his plan. Finally, at 6:45 p.m., Adaeze walked out of the tall glass building. She looked beautiful in her red dress, her hair shining under the streetlights. She raised her hand for a taxi. Olumide's heart pounded so loud he thought she would hear it. He drove forward slowly and stopped right in front of her. Adaeze opened the back door and slid inside without looking up. "Good evening, driver. Take me to Lekki Phase 1, quick, she said, already typing on her phone. Olumide nodded, his voice rough and low. "Yes, madam." He started the engine. His hands shook on the wheel as they joined the heavy evening traffic. The moment he had feared and prepared for was finally here. As they crossed the long bridge, Adaeze's phone rang again. She answered with a happy laugh. The cheating words began to flow freely. Olumide listened to everyone, each sentence cutting deeper than the last. In his shock and rising fury, his foot pressed the accelerator too hard. The taxi lurched forward. A big downfall bus honked angrily just inches away. Adaeze screamed, "Driver! Are you mad?" Olumide fought to control the car, his mind racing with pain, betrayal, and a terrible new plan forming in the darkness of his heart. This night was only just beginning, and nothing would ever be the same again. The taxi jerked back into its lane just in time. Horns screamed from every side as the big downfall bus sped past, its driver shouting curses through the open window. Adaeze clutched the seat in front of her, her red-painted nails digging into the worn leather. "Driver! Are you trying to kill us?" she shouted, her voice high and sharp with fear. Olumide forced himself to breathe slowly. His heart hammered like a talking drum at a village festival. He kept his voice low and rough, like a real area boy from the streets. "Sorry, madam. The road is bad tonight. Traffic dey vex." Adaeze huffed and sank back, still breathing fast. She picked up her phone again and typed quickly. Olumide could see her reflection in the rearview mirror, her lips curved in a small, secret smile as she sent a message. Probably to Chinedu, telling him she was almost there. The pain in Olumide's chest burned hotter than the Lagos sun at noon. But now a new feeling grew beside the hurt, cold, sharp anger. He would not let this night end without her knowing the truth. Not yet. Not until she felt even a small piece of the pain she had given him. They crawled through the thick Lekki traffic. Neon lights from bars and restaurants flashed across Adaeze's face. She hummed a soft love song under her breath, tapping her fingers happily on her knee. Olumide listened to every note. It was the same song she used to sing for him in the shower back in their early days. Now the sound felt like poison in his ears. He gripped the wheel tighter and turned left onto a quieter street leading to phase 1. "Stop here, driver," Adaeze said suddenly. They were still 2 streets away from the address she had given. Olumide pulled over near a small buka where people sat eating pepper soup under yellow bulbs. "Madam, this no be the place you talk," he said carefully. Adaeze opened her purse and brought out some naira notes. "I want buy something quick. Wait for me. I go pay extra." She stepped out, her high heels clicking on the pavement, and walked toward a pharmacy across the road. Olumide watched her go. His mind raced. Was she buying something for her lover? Medicine? Condoms? The thought made by rise in his throat. While she was inside the pharmacy, Olumide quickly checked his own phone. He had turned it on silent earlier. There were missed calls from his personal driver and his secretary. He ignored them. Instead, he opened the tracking app he had secretly installed on Adaeze's phone months ago, back when the doubts first started. The little dot showed her exact position inside the pharmacy. He zoomed in. She was not just buying medicine. The app showed she had stopped at the cosmetics aisle too. Olumide's jaw clenched. She was making herself pretty for another man. Right now. Adaeze came back 5 minutes later, carrying a small white plastic bag. She slid into the back seat smelling faintly of new perfume. "Let's go," she said brightly. Olumide started the engine again. As they drove the last short distance, she opened the bag and pulled out a tiny bottle of red lipstick. She leaned forward to apply it in the small mirror on the back of the sun visor. Olumide could smell the sweet cherry scent filling the car. His stomach twisted. That was the same brand she used on their honeymoon in Maldives. He remembered kissing that lipstick off her lips under the stars. Now she was putting it on for someone else. They finally reached the gate of a tall white duplex in Lekki Phase 1. The security man opened the gate without asking questions. He clearly knew Adaeze well. Olumide drove in slowly. The compound was neat, with flowers and a small fountain. Lights glowed warmly from every window. Adaeze gathered her things. "How much?" she asked, already opening her purse. Olumide turned off the engine. His voice came out steady, though inside he was shaking. "No need to pay, madam." Adaeze frowned and looked at him properly for the first time. "What do you mean no need?" "I said how much." Olumide slowly removed his cap. He turned fully in the driver's seat so the dashboard light fell on his face. Adaeze's eyes widened. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out at first. The lipstick tube slipped from her fingers and rolled onto the floor. Olumide," she whispered, her voice breaking like thin glass. Color drained from her cheeks. She looked like she had seen a ghost. Olumide stared at her, his eyes hard and full of pain. "Yes, Adaeze. It's me. Your foolish husband who counts money while you run to another man." Tears welled in her eyes. She shook her head slowly. No, this is not how." For a long moment, silence filled the taxi like thick smoke. Adaeze's breathing came in short gasps. Olumide felt tears burning behind his own eyes, but he refused to let them fall. "I heard everything," he said quietly. "Every word you said to Chinedu. Every insult. Every plan." Adaeze covered her mouth with her hand. "Please, let me explain," she begged, her voice trembling. Olumide shook his head. "Explain. After you called me a fool in my own car. After you said my touch is like glass and his is fire." His voice cracked on the last word. Suddenly, the front door of the duplex opened. A tall, handsome man stepped out, Chinedu. He wore a white singlet and joggers, smiling as he walked toward the taxi. Adaeze, baby. Wetin dey delay you, he called cheerfully. Then he saw the driver's face. His smile vanished. He froze mid-step. Adaeze whimpered. Chinedu, go back inside, she cried. But it was too late. Chinedu's eyes darted between Olumide and Adaeze. Recognition hit him like a slap. Oga. Adebayo, he stammered. Olumide stepped out of the taxi slowly. He stood tall, even in his poor driver's clothes. His voice was low and dangerous. Yes. The fool with money. The one whose wife comes to your house every night. Chinedu took a step back. Fear flashed across his face. Olumide walked around the car toward them. Adaeze scrambled out, tears streaming down her cheeks. Olumide, please. Don't do anything stupid, she sobbed. Chinedu raised his hands. Oga, wait, it's not what you think. Olumide stopped just inches from Chinedu. His fist clenched at his sides. The air felt thick with tension. Adaeze grabbed Olumide's arm. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Please forgive me. Olumide looked down at her hand on his sleeve. Then he looked at Chinedu's frightened face. Then back at his wife, the woman he had loved more than life itself. In that moment, something inside him broke completely. He raised his hand slowly. Adaeze flinched, expecting a slap. But instead, Olumide gently removed her fingers from his arm. His voice came out cold and final. Both of you, get out of my sight. This marriage is over tonight. He turned and walked back to the taxi. Adaeze fell to her knees on the gravel, crying his name. Chinedu stood frozen, mouth open. As Olumide opened the driver's door, his phone rang in his pocket. He pulled it out. The screen showed his lawyer's name. He answered. Yes, start the papers tonight. Divorce. No settlement. Nothing. He ended the call and looked one last time at Adaeze sobbing on the ground. Then he got into the taxi, started the engine, and drove out of the compound without looking back. The gate closed behind him with a heavy clang. The night swallowed him whole. But deep in his heart, a new fire burned, one of revenge, justice, and the promise that this story was far from finished.